What would you do if one reckless moment destroyed everything you thought you knew about yourself? One accident, one wrong step, pulling you across a line you could never uncross. I never believed I could be that kind of woman. I was steady, devoted, the wife who remembered birthdays, cooked meals, and kept the house together. People admired me for being the reliable one, even though the warmth in my marriage had died long ago. I told myself it was enough, until the storm came. That night, the rain hammered against the windows while thunder rolled in the distance. The whole house felt heavy, almost alive, buzzing with tension. My husband, Thomas, was away again, another business trip, another night of silence pressing down on me. I tried to pretend I was used to it. But I wasn't alone. His son, Ethan, was home. 22, tall, lean, with a quiet confidence that seemed to demand attention without him even trying. He had his father's sharp features but his mother's deep, unreadable eyes, the kind that lingered on me a little too long, making me wonder if I was imagining it. Deep down, I knew I wasn't. When the lightning split the sky and the house went dark, I felt my chest tighten. I fumbled for my phone, trying to find light, and suddenly, Ethan was there. Too close. His face half illuminated, shadows tracing the edges of his jaw, the outline of his lips. His shirt clung to him, damp with the scent of soap and sweat. And in that moment, one slip, one reckless fall, I realized I had stepped somewhere I could never return from. The air felt thinner, like every breath I took had to push through a wall. I asked something pointless about the breaker, anything to cut the silence, and then my foot caught on the rug. I stumbled forward, an ordinary misstep that turned into everything. He was there before I could steady myself, hands steadying my waist, and we toppled onto the couch together. For a beat, I was on top of him, my palms flat against his chest, feeling the frantic drum of his heartbeat under my hand. I should have laughed it off, called myself clumsy and moved on. Instead the silence closed around us and something changed. His gaze wasn't the casual look of a friend anymore. It carried an intent that felt far older than a single misplaced fall. My body answered before my mind could catch up. I whispered his name and the word came out thin, half a warning, half a surrender. He tightened his hold. For a dizzy second I leaned down instead of scrambling away. The storm outside sounded distant, a drum roll to the wrong decision. Our lips met, wrong and electric, and in that instant the version of myself I thought I knew splintered. When the lights came back, the spell broke. I scrambled to my feet, heart hammering, face burning. Neither of us said a word. There was nothing useful to say. We had crossed a line that changed everything. That night I lay awake, staring into the dark and telling myself it had been a mistake. It wouldn't happen again, I promised. But honesty felt like fragile glass I was afraid to touch. The next morning, my husband texted that his flight was delayed. He wouldn't be home for 3 more days. 3 days with him in the same house felt like a threat. I told myself I would avoid him, that I could steer the rest of the weekend into safe, ordinary moments. But small things betrayed me, the way he looked at me over breakfast, the way his eyes lingered when he thought I wasn't looking. The first time it happened after that was absurd. The laundry room, ridiculous and domestic. I had gone to grab a towel and he followed. The door clicked. No conversation, no pretense of innocence. His hands found me and his mouth found mine. It was less about desire than gravity, 2 people pulled into the same orbit even when they both knew the heat would burn. I could have stopped it. I could have stepped back and walked away from the edge. Instead I closed the distance and let the moment become ours, a dangerous secret braided into the ordinary seams of the house. We stole time in shadowed corners and briefly claimed rooms that weren't ours. Every shared glance at the dinner table became a private message, every accidental touch felt like a match struck. Guilt weighed on me like wet wool, but every time I resolved to end it, the same look pulled me back. It was easier to sink into the warmth than to face the cold truth, that what we had done could not be undone simply by will. And with my husband still away, the danger felt louder. The house, once a refuge of routines and small comforts, became an arena where I kept expecting to be found out. Every sound made me jump. Every text made me freeze. The secret spread through my days like a stain. I tried to tell myself the affair could be contained, that it would be a single deviation in a life otherwise predictable. But secrets have their own momentum. They breed lies, small ones at first, convenient shifts in the truth to cover the next transgression. I lied about being where I was and who I'd seen. I lied by omission. Each falsehood made me feel smaller and more trapped. The hardest part wasn't the secrecy. It was what it did to how I saw myself. I had been the dependable one, the partner who kept the home intact. Now I moved through rooms with a strange double vision, the woman everyone thought I was and the woman who had betrayed that image. The old steadiness felt like a costume I could no longer wear convincingly. One evening, after a day filled with small silences, I found myself looking at the calendar and thinking in terms of departures and arrivals. I timed coffees and errands around flights. I measured the spaces between messages for signs of guilt. The house no longer held simple comforts, it held questions. When my husband finally came home, the relief I had expected didn't arrive. Instead, an undercurrent of dread began to grow. I realized then that the real aftermath was only beginning. The choices I had made had a way of working themselves into every corner of life, and the cost of that reckoning was something neither regret nor apology could fully predict. We got reckless. Too reckless. One night, Thomas came home earlier than expected. I was still flushed from Ethan's touch when he walked into the kitchen. He kissed my cheek in that distracted way he always did, never noticing the blouse I had buttoned wrong, never seeing the smirk Ethan tried to hide behind him. But I knew then, it was only a matter of time before the truth surfaced. It didn't come with shouting or broken dishes. It came quietly. One evening, Thomas sat with his bourbon, watching me longer than usual. Then he asked, calm and steady, "It's Ethan, isn't it?" The glass slipped in my hand. He didn't rage, didn't accuse. Instead, he laid out the choice like a contract. Leave with Ethan and lose everything, or stay, and he'd pretend it never happened. I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought passion, or love, or whatever name I tried to give it, was worth the destruction. So I packed a bag. Ethan was waiting in his truck, the thrill of escape flashing in his eyes. We drove away, convinced we were running towards something better. But it didn't take long for the truth to unravel. What followed wasn't passion anymore, it was chaos. Thomas stripped me of everything. Our accounts, our home, the life I thought was secure. Ethan's charm dissolved into anger, into bottles of cheap liquor, into blame. The man I had thrown everything away for began to crumble right in front of me. I realized too late that I had destroyed my life for someone who never truly loved me. The moment hit me hard. An anonymous motel room, the sharp smell of bleach in the air, Ethan passed out drunk beside me, and my phone buzzing with a single message from Thomas. "You'll regret this." And he was right. I share this story not to seek sympathy, but as a warning. We convince ourselves that we can dance with temptation, that we can play with fire and somehow stay untouched. But it only takes one moment, one slip, one kiss in the dark, to unravel the entire life you thought was solid. I used to believe I was a good wife. Maybe once I was. But now, I am someone else entirely. Someone who carries the memory of that storm, that fall, that kiss, the night I slipped into a choice that changed everything. This story is for storytelling and awareness purposes only. Names, places, and events have been changed for privacy. Viewer discretion is advised. Thank you for staying with this story till the end. Stories like this remind us that one reckless choice can alter everything we thought was secure. If this touched you, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories of betrayal, love, and lessons learned in 2025.